Hi guys, Alice Taylor down here at Living Golf Academy. Today I'm going to show you why the strike location on your driver face is so important and why the correct tee height is going to help you maximise your drives. Right then guys, so we hear lots and lots about strike is king, but I think the big thing for most golfers to understand is that very often on days that they hit driver, great, nice distance, good accuracy, but then they go out the next day and the ball flight's completely different trajectory, different distance, and they really feel that their golf swing has changed. Now the big challenge for me is most of the time the swing hasn't changed dramatically, but what has really changed is the position on where we're making contact with the club face. Now, with driver, and certain models are a little bit different nowadays, but with driver, there's something called roll and bulge. So the face of the driver isn't entirely flat. So as we look from the side, we can see that it curves, it has more loft towards the top of the club face, and it has less loft towards the bottom of the club face. And the true loft of the driver should be round about the center of the club face. Equally, toe and heel strikes, the face curves so that where the ball sets off can change. But I'm going to talk very much about where your strike location is up and down the club face, how it affects your launch angle, spin rate, and ultimately distance. And if you don't know where you're making contact with it, you may end up making swing changes that you don't need to make. So guys, if this is one of your first times down watching my video, welcome down to Ali Taylor Golf. If you're enjoying today's content and you don't subscribe, consider clicking the subscribe button and ring the notification bell. That way you'll find out when I drop a new video. But for now, let's find out why the correct tee height and correct strike location is going to help you maximize your drives. Right then guys, so impact location on the club face, particular driver, is so important. Like I said, the roll and bulge on the driver is generally there to help golfers on those slightly off-center hits kind of get the ball back to target. But the real key is obviously striking it out the best part of the club face that's going to launch the ball optimally, give you the best spin, and ultimately get you your best drives. Now, hopefully most of you guys out there have been fitted for driver so that you've already got a driver that is as close to optimum in performance as possible. But the key is you still have to hit it out of the correct part of the club face. So I'm going to hit just normal shot for me off. If I'm using the castle tees, the preset heights, I would use the orange tee nice and high. It encourages me to hit up on the golf ball and allows me to strike fairly centered on the club face. And as a result of that, I know then from what I do in my golf swing, how I can shape the ball. So let's just hit a stock shot for me with a good strike, and let's see how my driver's actually 9.5 degrees, and let's see what this turns into with strike at impact. So we can see a very centered strike turned into 13.2 degrees at impact, 2000 spin, 251 carry, and just under 280 yards in total. So for me, that's obviously hitting the ball right out the middle of the club face, which gives me good launch, not swinging flat out today, but good launch, good spin, good distance, and very playable. Now, tee height, I think, is a big one. So obviously I was using the big orange tee there, which really allows me to hit up on the golf ball. Now, from a technique perspective, I think sometimes guys don't hit down, don't hit up, they hit down on the ball, and they get it very high off the club, and they hit that one that pops in the air, goes nowhere, and leaves a mark on the club. So what I see for a lot of golfers is, to stop that happening, they'll tee the ball lower. So I've moved down to the white tee, which is hugely lower, and as I put the club behind the ball now, the ball's almost in the middle of the club face rather than having half of the ball above the club head. Now, I'm not going to change my technique here. I'm still going to try and hit up, and we're going to see, does that tee height change the impact location on the club face? And if it does, how does it affect the performance of the golf ball? So I'm going to set up as normal, make my normal swing. That felt much lower off the face. So let's look at that one. So we can still see fairly centered, but 24 millimeters, so almost an inch down the club face. We can see the launch angle's gone down to 9.5 degrees. The spin rate's jumped up to 2,800, and my distances have dropped down to 235 yards, 260 total. So we can see there, guys, with roll and bulge, middle of the club face, if that was 9.5 degrees, and I'm probably turning it into more anyway by hitting up on the golf ball, by hitting an inch down the face in theory, there should be 5.2 degrees less loft, and the ball's then going to spin more. So we can see how an inch down the face takes the launch angle down, increases spin, which is absolutely the opposite of what most golfers are looking for with their drives. Obviously, if I was to hit it high off the club face, my launch angle would jump up a lot more, and again, that would affect spin. So the key thing is you have to know strike if you're going to start criticizing kind of how the ball's flying. Now, obviously for me, nice fortunate position that I use TrackMan, so that's showing me impact location on the club face. But if you haven't got access to something like that, you can put some face tape on there, which will show strike patterns. You can put some spray on the face. Maybe don't do it off a one-off shot. See if there's a pattern develops. If you are somebody who is hitting it very, very high on the club face, really launching high, potentially go a little bit lower with that tee. If you're somebody who does use predominantly the lower part of the club face, try and go a little bit higher with the tee. Experiment a little bit and see if you can find which tee height gives you the most consistent strike in the center of the face. Then you should be seeing your best launch, your best spin, and maximizing your drives. But this is something you can do even without changing technique, just simply by changing your tee height. Right then, guys, so we could see there my strike on those couple of drives was about an inch difference, and there is general roll and bulge about 5.2 degrees inch up or down the face difference in launch angle. But we saw for me kind of nearly 4 degrees difference in launch. Very, very different spin, went from 2,000 with the centered strike to 2,800 on the very low strike. Now I know for a lot of guys, they'll still say, well, 2,800 is great. Key thing for me is this is an incredibly low spinning driver. So I know when I hit it correctly, I'm very, very low spin. Even the low strikes, I kind of get away with it a little bit and get some decent results. This driver's not great toe and heel, but the idea of today was up and down the face. And we could see how the different tee height massively affected the strike location, and as a result of that, really affected how far the ball was going to go. So guys, hope you've enjoyed the video. If you have, like and share it, give it a thumbs up, comment below, and I'll get back to as many people as I can. Click the subscribe button and ring the notification bell if you don't already. Subscribe, that way you'll find out when I drop a new video. Follow me on all my social media platforms, all under Ali Taylor Golf. Hopefully catch up with some of you guys down here soon. Stay in contact.